Is that an answer?
I'm going to do the best that I possibly can.
That's just literally all we're asking.
Okay.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
And we can always shelve it, right?
Sure. Anyways. Okay, I'm going. Ready? Welcome to the Take Up Space podcast. My name is Vikash. I am your guest host today. And today we have in the apparently not actually a hot seat, it's just a regular seat, our usual host and creator of this wonderful space, Farha. I don't think we have to do introductions. You've done that several.
You're not going to give me any introduction?
Do you want me to give you
a little bit. A little bit of like...
So she created the space, has done a wonderful job hosting, and we had this idea, this is actually her idea, to kind of put her on the guest side of things and just see how stuff plays out and see kind of what this looks like.
Okay.
And now that we're actually here, she's deeply nervous about it.
I'm not deeply nervous.
Oh, sorry, superficially
nervous about it.
Okay.
Thanks, Vikash. Hi. It's so nice to see you in that seat.
I mean,
this view is way better than that view.
Is this going to be the regular thing?
This is like a really nice view. Like there's a mirror there and a plant there, and like I don't know, it's just a lot going on.
This might be easier than you thought. This is great. This is a good start.
I love the seat.
Okay, so I had a list of things that I definitely thought would be cool to get into, but I wanted to start off with something that came to me as an idea yesterday when we were emailing back and forth about this episode.
Yes,
it's okay.
Please.
It's fine. It's interesting.
Okay.
I think we'll find out. So when we were going back and forth about this episode, and we had talked about this episode being about like, all right, let's just get into knowing the host a bit more and what that looks like.
Right. Your
response to me when we were talking about it was, but this is so boring. Like, I hope somebody was like, there's just a weave of self-deprecation comments, just kind of every time we reference this episode for like a solid week. It was just, I guess we got to do this. I'm like, you want to be here.
You want to do this, right, Farha?
And I bring it up to start off because the entire context of the podcast is taking up space. And I've mentioned this to you before. I think you do a really, really great job at hosting and being the provision of that for other people to come in and do this in the seat. I'm curious as to the polar opposite difference of when other people are here, you encourage and empower it and like, yes, please take up space, say your piece, do all this.
Yeah.
But as soon as you become that topic and we talk about you and that, it's the opposite reaction, right? And it's like jokey, and I know you weave it in there, but I imagine there's a little bit, just a semblance of like hesitation and truth to that. So I wanted to ask about that. Okay. Yeah.
Great question. Thanks for the curveball, Vikash.
You're welcome.
Already doing such a great job at hosting. No, on a serious note, like I think taking up space, the idea was to get uncomfortable and be unapologetically honest about myself, my experiences, and share those, right? And I think to your point, what I got really comfortable doing was holding the space for other people to do that. I do really challenge myself in those moments to speak up and like share personal experiences or anecdotes or talk. And that for me is a lot, you know? So I think this journey has been like tolerating the discomfort around taking up space. And with every episode, I'm kind of like widening that window a little bit. And this one is like trying to stay in the window of tolerance.
Opening the window completely,
trying to
jumping
stay
out
present.
of it.
I should just do some tapping. No, but I think the self-deprecating humor you're talking about.
Which is funny. And I was like, interesting.
And no, you're right. Like, it's a protector, you know, it's a protector that I have that allows me to do this with some level of levity, but also like...
good grounding,
but also stay grounded, because it is still such a challenge, ironically. But I'm really glad I'm doing this. And I'm glad you're the one asking the questions because I feel very safe and comfortable with you, if you must know.
I mean, ideally, that's what we're going for, so I'm very glad about that. That's great. Take up space. It's okay.
Taking up space.
No, I mean, I think it's been interesting seeing the evolution of these episodes as they've come out because in all of them, or as they sort of show up, there are these moments or these sparks of when you offer a little bit of vulnerability yourself in order to connect. And I think there is a narrative of you just sort of, as a way of supplementing the conversation you're having with whoever's in the seat, when you offer these pieces of yourself as a way to supplement the conversation, there is a narrative forming of like people just sort of getting to know who you are and what makes you tick and like what maybe unfortunately what some of the trauma history pieces are, but also just some of the pieces of like, this is just what I enjoy and what I like. And some of the lighter parts of it were our sort of get to know episode or whatever. But then there's pieces in even the past few episodes where like more serious conversations.
Absolutely.
The one that was recorded just before this, which that'll be fun.
So fun.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you seem very comfortable when it is in that context of wanting to supplement what someone else is talking about. Right. So all that being said, that's why I was curious about like, okay, what this is.
And I think it's a buildup of that discomfort, you know?
Yeah, okay.
It's been really, I said this in like the first ever episode, which was not in these studios. It was just like audio. But
yeah, I heard that one.
I think like growing up in the environment of just, you know, chaos and uncertainty, unfortunately, leads you to being really lonely, and a lot of shame and fear develop just through the nature of those experiences. I've said this before, but like I carry a lot of that with me in my body, and I continuously work on those things in therapy all the time. And I've made so much progress to where like coming on here and doing this was just a breakthrough for me, even if I was on that seat and, you know, supplementally adding in some information that I'm comfortable with. But to do this on this seat, like I was saying, is a different level. So I'm really happy that we're doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
But
okay. Well,
so we've finally taken up space.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. This is good.
This should be the last episode ever.
Ever?
Like this was the journey.
This is the retirement. Yeah,
this is the retirement. No, just kidding.
That was a quick run. I don't think we should do that just yet. All right. Well, I want to get the first thing that comes to mind for me, and it's a bit of a segue, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the first interactions we had when we were filming the episode when I was the guest.
Okay.
Because one of the things I noticed,
that was the first time we met.
That was the first time we met in person.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a video call before that, but like it was first in-person interaction. And something that I noticed that I was deeply curious about, and we just haven't had opportunity. So I think a lot of this is just an opportunity for me to just get to know you better too, because we work pretty.
I'll get you back later.
Yeah, just insert random personal questions.
Do what you need to do.
So I noticed that you had a tattoo on your shoulder. Was it your right shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it said "free" on it. There was birds.
There's birds.
It was really, really nice design. And I asked you about it, and your first reaction was like, "It's a whole thing." Like that was it, and then we didn't really get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that we're here, and because I am deeply curious about it, can you tell me the story of that tattoo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what it? Yeah.
I have 7 tattoos, by the way. So
7. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So we can do a bajillion stories. That could be the whole episode. Honestly, I'd feel okay.
Feel way more comfortable.
Feel more comfortable.
Are
That's
they each,
where we
like,
were
deeply associated with something personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so the free one specifically is one of my favorites. But yeah, it has like a bird. So it's obviously the association is just freedom. And when I think freedom, birds obviously come to mind because they're flying and independent and they're free. And it sounds twisted, but it was right after my marriage ended like 4.5 years ago. So I got a divorce.
Okay.
And during that time period, which divorces are really uncommon in our culture, and if you've ever been through one, your entire like worldview just kind of shatters, right? And you have this roadmap and you think like life is going to be this way. I'm going to have, you know, this house with these potential kids and dogs and things like that. And
future plan just gets...
everything just gets wiped out.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight has been such a gift. And that moment and that period of time where everything was wiped out, as much as it came with like grief and sorrow and like rebuilding and reconstructing myself, a lot of the feelings were just like of pure liberation and like pure freedom. And I think it wasn't, and I don't want to make it sound like it was freedom from the relationship. Like that is true. When anything isn't serving you anymore, it's nice to like open up yourself to something else, right? But I think it was freedom from all these like limiting beliefs that I was carrying about myself, about what the world had to offer me, and about what relationships had to offer me. You know what I mean? So it was freedom from myself and my mind that was keeping me kind of like hostage in those years. And then the relationship was just like what you see that I was free from. But it was deeper than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm immediately curious about something within that because first of all, that's considering the stigma and how marriage, and I think Radha spoke to this on the episode with y'all too, which was like just the narrative around marriage in general and what that is. Like considering the deep stigma of what separation or divorce anything looks like. And personally, so I have not been divorced, and I hope to never
You just
be.
got married.
I know.
Let's
she's
keep
amazing.
it together, Vikash.
She's amazing. And it's very lucky because of that.
Yeah.
But I've witnessed one very intimately. Like it was a very close family member of mine that had to go through that. And like as a family, we were navigating that. So and some of the stuff that came up was like, it was so annoying how much of the dialogue centered around how much to hide about what was happening with it.
Yeah.
And so that's my experience of like viewing that, but within the context of like South Asian households and all that.
Right.
And two things I'm immediately curious about. One, was that something that you had to navigate regarding like the whole lo kya kenge bullshit?
Yeah.
And then two, do you have access to remembering like what limiting beliefs you have since deconstructed? And like even what that is, like what it is that those beliefs like enabled, how you found yourself too free from it, and how you ended up getting to a realization of like, you know what, I think I need to make a choice here.
Yeah.
What does all of that look like?
Lots of questions, Vikash.
Yeah. Pick one.
They were so good though.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of you.
You're just doing a judge sheet on the corner and be like, yeah.
You did a great intro. He has some really good questions. I'm just kidding. The Lokya Kahenge part, to answer your question, was a big factor. And it wasn't because of divorce necessarily, but it was the nature of our divorce. Like, to be really candid, the relationship on its outer skirts looked really perfect. Like, you'd see, like, two best friends having a great time, you know. But at the root of it, like, not only was it a sexless marriage, it was also, like, deeply enmeshed and codependent. And so... I think the part that makes it really hard with the Lokya Kahenge is when you're going about to explain like what happened and why. And I mean, you know, I don't need to explain it to anybody, but when I'm explaining it to, let's say, my mom, right, or a friend that's close to me, there is just so much shame around the concept of this is sex, right? And like what we just talked about in the previous episode. Because we don't think of that as something that's important or something that we all deserve and have the right to explore and communicate on and do. So I say all that to say, like, that part of it was the hardest. And what was so surprising was that my mother and my friends were so supportive.
That surprised you that they were supportive?
It surprised me because I thought there would be a little bit of like judgment around why I needed to leave and exit that situation. But instead, there was a lot of concern and just like, hey, I wish you told me earlier. And it was something I wasn't sharing at all. I was just too embarrassed to share ever. And that made the problem just tenfold. And, I regret not telling anyone at the time, but everything happens for a reason. And so I think the Lokya Kahenge got really convoluted for me because the conversation was about sex. And And although there's always deeper issues, like we just heard, but when that is the forefront and that's what people are saying
and, like,
and
what happened,
talking,
what's going on,
and it explodes into this thing, and I look like what society or like what our community would call like just like the worst words that you would call someone who's prioritizing desire, right? And perhaps that made the partner at the time look like something else, and so it was hard to navigate that in my mind and within the community. You know what I mean? And so the Lokya Kahenge part really, like, it wasn't just the divorce. That's just like, okay, that shit looks
just
bad.
Sort of like the last piece. But this was the content of what it was.
It was the content of what it was. It made it seem a lot more, it was just a lot more for people to maybe talk about or judge or, feel a type of way about. So I really kind of distanced myself a little bit from my community 4.5 years ago. But just now, like slowly, I've been like participating in projects. Like becoming a therapist helps because
we kind of do our own work a little bit.
We do our own work, alongside. And so they can ask me like, hey, could you help out with this project or that project? And now I'm super open to helping. To answer the second part of your question, like a lot of the core beliefs or like limiting beliefs that have been explored and shed over the last 4.5 years have helped me come to this place where I'm now back trying to like, honor my community, even though I might have felt a type of way about it 4.5 years ago. Because the truth is, it's not that anybody was like coming to my face and like, hey, you did this. It wasn't super explicit. It was definitely implicit. Like, but you just, you're not going to like actually say it to someone.
Yeah.
You could feel the energy. It was like felt. So nobody had to say anything to me.
This aura is really aggressive. This is crazy.
Yeah. The energy was just in the room. And I was like, oh goodness, like, I need some space from this. Okay. And it's been such a pleasure to help the community these days, because what I lost in those 4.5 years and some was like the sense of belonging and the sense of giving back. And just kind of like, I think just like, as much as you hold on to your past, like it will have a hold on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's markers.
Yeah. And like, so you can choose to allow it to mean what it means, but also to not hold it anymore. And I think not holding it anymore has given me so much space to just be open and expansive and honest and myself with people and my community. Yeah. On the Lokya Kahanga front. And the beliefs are just that question is, that could take hours, but it's like I think I can imagine, at the core of it, it's like there was and you're a therapist, so you know this, but when our childhood looks a certain way, like I'm alluding to, one of chaos or violence, what you do sometimes is you might try to replicate relationships that you see when you're younger, right? With your mom or your dad, you might try to recreate what they had or what you had with them. Or in my case, it's like, I think I went from being like extremely unsafe to going out into the world and looking for like sharp, strict safety. What's the safest, narrowest route?
Here's what safety is.
I need this. So even my like decision making and thought processes were just about like, what's the next thing that will keep me safe? And safe is the term of like, it's not safe that you think of safe, but it's more like
physical safety only.
It's like this
maybe comfort
feeling of safety. That's not looking like what I experienced. So let's keep things really predictable, controllable, small, narrow-minded, easy.
Minimize unknown.
Exactly. And so that became the frame of reference, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm operating from that place, what I'm believing about like myself, it's a lot of things, but at the core of it, I think is the world is not safe. And I am not safe in it, and I can't trust anyone, and nor can I trust myself. And when you're operating on these types of like deeply rooted shame and fear beliefs, you don't get to live a lot of your life, just to circle back for everyone. This is why.
Go ahead.
Get out my anger.
Okay.
This is why I didn't watch the animated Disney movies. Okay, Vikash, I didn't have fucking time for that shit.
You've been holding on to that for weeks
I'm just going to hold on to it because I was rewatching us talk about it. And I was like, you know what? I need to really defend myself here. Anyway, so back to what I was saying.
Doesn't mean you can't now. Anyway,
I didn't have time. So those were my focuses. And so once I deconstructed like what, marriage is like such a big part of the rubric, if you will, in our culture to live a good life, like Radha was talking about and we're talking about. You get a good job, you go to a good school, you get married, you have kids, you call it a day. And that visual. And because the divorce happened, it gave me the opportunity to just like break everything. Maybe the world is safe. Maybe I could be safe in it. Maybe there are people that I could trust, and maybe I could learn how to trust myself. And so when I got to those places, my life changed, to put it simply, but really, truly.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Massive journey for the last 4 years.
I know. 4.5. It's been a really long one. Yeah. But it's been so beautiful. Like I
can imagine finding that type of
painful
energy.
And beautiful. And I think that we think that we shouldn't have a life. We should have a life free of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
But those moments of pain and suffering are the only things that brought me to these moments of like living life so big, right? Because there was no way to learn and to feel everything that I needed to feel and learn,
Yeah.
or revisit in my past or whatever that might be,
Yeah.
without the journey that I had. So I think, I don't remember the quote, but it's like, pain is inevitable and suffering is optional, something around those
It's
lines.
Frankel, maybe?
Yeah,
Search for
Victor.
Meaning?
Yeah. And so
My boy Victor.
my boy Victor. Yeah, I said his name like I know him. Uh, but yeah, no, I think that that this type of pain was a part of my soul's like journey and like required curriculum, if you will.
Yeah, like there's a rubric to this is what you were supposed to endure in order to access the right life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the therapist thing would have never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not part of the rubric.
It's not. And it wasn't in my peripheral or my purview. Like I was a product owner in the tech space for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is like in the purview to some degree. Bit, right. It's like, this is allowed.
This is allowed. It makes sense. Like, it pays well and you get a job and you can help and give back to your parents. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
So your idea to explore a deeper desire or build something that's purposeful kind of squashes. And and I was deeply unfulfilled in that job for so long. And I just didn't know what else. So I think another thing that came from all of this in the last 4.5 years was when I broke apart, I leaned on therapy to help me put pieces back together and find myself. And in that journey, I was looking at my therapist, and I've said this before, I was like, I could do this.
You're like, this is sick, by the way. Yeah.
This is awesome. Great. Yeah. This feels really good.
Yeah.
But more than that, it was like helping me, and I was like, if it helps me, and it's that thought of, can I help someone else if they're feeling just as lost, just as dark, and just as afraid? Because that's what the world looked like, and I don't wish that upon anyone, because it doesn't make life really worthwhile. So, and if there's any way to give back, like that's where this all came from. So I say all that to say, like, this journey has been crazy, but I think necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. There's a couple of you good?
Yeah, I'm good. No, just like, breathing because you're breathing.
No, yeah, that was powerful. There's something that immediately I'm thinking about in response to a lot of this, and we are treading through these themes of like shackles, limiting beliefs, rubrics, standards of safety.
Yeah,
rigidity is the core of a lot of these pieces, right?
Yeah.
And you've referenced it a little bit just now, but I'm sure most of, especially first and second gen South Asian and just like immigrant family people is this struggle to figure out what the quote unquote right way to live is, right? And I reference this because it seems that unless we as adults do some very deep, intentional, and conscious introspection and reflection, we carry with us this standard of living that we're supposed to do. And you and I referenced it just now. It's like, the tech space is in the preview. It's like, no one fucking said that out loud, right? We just know that to be true.
Absolutely.
And so the curiosity then comes into when you've done your reflection on this, especially finding out what your limiting beliefs and like the shackles are. Where do you think a lot of you learning the script came from? Like, this is the right way to live. Like, where does that show up? Because we know what the script is.
Right.
We all seem to know what the script is. Where are we getting this information
We're all referencing some book out there.
Yeah. I call it the script in my sessions with like clients. And it's like, as soon as I mention it, they know what I'm talking about. And it's like,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
To this.
It's like something we just implicitly know.
And
if I had to think on like where it came from, I mean, obviously as a therapist, I'm going to answer this, that like our environment and upbringing and our scheme.
There's the obvious,
but it's
like
true. It's true in that like that is what was modeled, right? Like I saw, it's not that I saw my mom do all those things because I was born in between it all, but like, but you know what it is? I saw everyone celebrating others do those things.
Yeah.
So if you got married or got the right job or got the kid or the house or whatever, everyone celebrated it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you think about it, there's a birthday, there's a graduation, there's these parties for these milestones, but there isn't for like my divorce or changing my career or something around those lines. So we like, I guess, focus and highlight those things. And so as a kid growing up, it's in the, to your point, it's the obvious, it's in the messaging, it's modeled, it's in the movies of Bollywood, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up on, and you're very much still on Bollywood stuff.
Love it so much.
Yeah,
for
I was
going to
ask. Well, I'll ask the question I think I want to ask, but you go first.
But to say that, because everyone was celebrating and encouraging those types of milestones, I thought, if I do it, then I'm doing the right thing. If I do it, then maybe like I'm safe and I'm celebrated and I'm okay.
Yeah.
It goes back to my safety schema. But to your question, it's that like I saw it rewarded and I wanted to stay in the lane of that reward
because it was rewarded.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting because we learned this and you learned it, but then when you came to a critical juncture of deeply defying it, which maybe was represented by the decision regarding separation and divorce.
Yeah.
And the surprise that comes with the primary communities were concerned, not judgmental.
Yeah.
And as a quick anecdote, I have a similar sort of critical juncture point with just career shift, which I think any brown therapist, clinicians, we all have some story related to how we got here, and it was not like a straight path.
Yeah.
And there's like maybe a couple. It was
very
like,
rare where it's a straight path.
That's weird almost.
So we want to hear your story.
Yeah. My parents were supportive. What? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But the thing that comes up is my own experience too, ironically, because this is also what the unlearning of the juncture was when I announced that like, oh, I'm going to do social work. There was just mass support, and there was voices coming up saying like, yeah, we don't have anyone in our family that does this, and that's just unheard of. And I was also surprised because like, this is not at all what y'all told me what the case was. Right. Because I did the classic thing of like, I was in medicine and I did that, and I was honestly good enough at it to where I could have just.
I was a bio major too.
Yeah.
I tried.
It's part of the
part of the journey.
But then I was also met with, this is awesome that you're doing this. But my experience is a little more different in the sense that my nuclear family had a lot more struggle with accepting it, but everybody else outside of that was anyways.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because I'm like, okay, so this is kind of a personal question, but it's also a bit more of a, what do you think this is about sort of question. Where do you think the dissonance is when we experience people who feel liberated themselves when we defy the script, and then we experience a support or concern or like, we're here for you, right? In this community. But the voice of that community just felt like it didn't exist prior to us making the critical decision, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that
What
about?
the fuck is that about?
What do you think
hilarious.
is happening there?
Yeah. I think that we, as much as focus we put on the society messages and the modeling and the implicit messages, we put less focus on the fact that we're all human beings and we all can relate. It doesn't matter. For example, when I told my mom that I had a sexless marriage, she was like, are you kidding me? Like, even I've done it before, like, or, whatever. And she was like, why didn't you ask any of your friends? I'm sure they've all done it. And I was like,
it's like judgmental in a direction, completely different. You're like,
and I was like, excuse me, I was trying to be a good daughter. Like,
was
wait
this
till
not
marriage.
The thing? She's like, you idiot. You're like, what?
Yeah, she's like, you idiot. Like, what do you mean? Anyway, I say that to say that, on a human level, like, she understood that desire is important. And so in that moment, like, it wasn't about looking or what people think. It was that human to human connection. And I think we have more of that if we seek it out. You know what I mean? Like, we take it away from ourselves when we focus on the implicit messages. And if we shift our focus, I think that energy is infectious. If I walk in with all heart and I go to my mom with all heart, it will invite her heart.
Yeah.
It will. And I've seen it. I've seen it like happen to me in the last 4.5 years all the time.
Yeah.
And I stress that the more that we can tune into ourselves and get to know our parts and where we're coming from and what message we took from here, but also what we really feel and what we believe, and we just bring all of that to the table, I think you'd be surprised what you get on the receiving end.
Yeah.
So I feel like what we're missing is really leaning in on human connection. It's so much more relatable than we think.
Yeah.
And
also, as soon as you open the bridge for that and make that bid.
Yeah, it's infectious. Yeah. It's infectious. Like, I see it all the time. And maybe there are moments where it doesn't work depending on where other people are at. But But for the most part, because if you say like I'm struggling through something and I'm really sad, I don't have to be struggling through that to know that, if what sadness feels like.
Yeah.
I understand to that level.
Yeah.
So if I have some sort of empathy and some sort of like presence in the moment, I will connect with you on it. And I think that I get a lot of that at home when I tune into it, when I lean in.
And then people are meeting with the bridge and being like, I can, and then you get this intimate knowledge of a person that you wouldn't have otherwise done and you allowed for that because you made the bridge.
Yeah. And I think I'll share something funny. My mom's going to kill me on this episode, but anyway, she was
Not the one where you outed your cousins.
Yeah. I don't even know if she's listening at this point because she hasn't reacted in any kind of way. But she was like, we were at a trip in Seattle visiting my brother who lived there at the time. And my brother, me and my mom, we were like trying to go out to eat to different restaurants. Sure, yeah. And we were like, Mom, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? Like, we wanted to take her where she wanted to eat because we're not very picky people. Like, we're just kind of like, we'll just all go with the flow. Yeah. And so the funny thing is she's also like the same.
So but we have three people
we go with the flow. Nobody's going to eat.
I'm in this position all the time. It is so fucking stressful.
It's so stressful. But what was hilarious was that at one point she was just like, she just kind of gave up because we were like pressuring her to pick
fine, we'll just go
where. And she was like, no, she wasn't like, fine, I'll go anywhere. She's like, she's like, I don't know. And I was like, Mom, why don't you ever know? Why don't you ever know what you want? Like, I was just really
just
going
into like an interrogation.
Yeah. And suddenly she goes, I think it's because nobody's ever asked me before, ever. And I was like, like, in that moment, she was deeply introspective for real, She was like, brother never asked me, da-da-da never asked me. And I was like, that makes so much sense, Mom. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, we'll just go get Chinese, like whatever. But the point is that that type of pause and that type of introspection, like I'm saying this all like in a funny way, but it was more of like me showing concern and her being able to like really go in, and it's an example of how human we are if we just lean in.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It was lovely. I was like, oh my goodness.
Mom. You learned so much from this one thing. And who knows if you would have ever gotten that tidbit outside of that context.
Yeah. I think about that a lot. Man, a lot of the moments I have these days, I think about what life would have been like if I didn't have them.
Yeah. The walls would have still been up probably.
Yeah,
honestly.
Probably.
Man. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because on an individual interaction level, you can build that bridge, you can make that connection.
Yeah.
There's maybe an obvious thing to acknowledge regarding a difficulty that shows up when it starts becoming individual and starts becoming larger, like communal group. And considering that you mentioned, so there's two things that are coming to mind for me.
Yeah.
Considering that you mentioned that you are now stepping back into trying to reconnect with community.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
The two things, honestly, just Bollywood and the culture that's just sort of glorified with us with that. How do you find yourself being able to step back into those pieces when those same sources sometimes do have the pervasion of like, these are the toxic messages that are still coming out. The community is still upholding as a value because these aren't places where you can extend the vulnerability and have it be reacted to or have that human interaction because we're just a lot smaller in that space.
Yeah.
Right? Naturally.
Yeah, that's a good question. Makes me really think. That's why it's a good question.
Yeah, you're like, all this was easy before this.
No, just kidding. Oh my God. It's like I can't take anything seriously. On a real note, I think that just like we underestimate the responses we got in both of our situations of compassion, career change, and divorce.
I think it applies to this.
It applies. Like, I mean, to your point, there is built-in structure in communities like this that you can't shake right off the bat.
Right.
Like, you just can't, And so, therefore, I'm not trying to. I walk into these spaces with the conviction that kindness, compassion, vulnerability are infectious. And if I'm embodying it, someone will feel it. And if one person feels it or if the second person does, and maybe it'll trickle, yay, and if it doesn't, that's okay. So when I help the community, for me, it's, it's not my goal to necessarily break it down and like reconstruct it in that thought process, right?
I mean, maybe it's important to ask first, like, what does this look like? You reconnecting with community now? And you like
yeah. I I was born Muslim. She is smiley Muslim. And I am not a very religious person, given my life trajectory.
Fair.
Very much on a spiritual path. Respect all religions. My mom really is going to kill me. Respect all religions. And
It's like you went on the podcast and said.
yeah, you said this out loud. Anyway, very, very spiritual, very faith-based. Like my entire mind operates on a faith of a higher power in every decision and every way I move, but just not religious.
Yeah.
And I say all that to say the community work right now is like they're doing some really phenomenal things for mental health. Like they're trying to. We had a lot of recent deaths and just kind of like tragic mental health things that happen in the community.
Okay.
And so we're trying to be preventative and like give the education that, you know, we don't get in school. We only get in therapy years later when we needed it before. Yeah. Like, right. And
assuming
we're trying to,
they're even in that space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If the stigma is gone. So like we are building those social emotional skills for very early on for adolescents and their parents. So like setting up 6 workshop series where they learn how to identify their feelings.
Like Jamatkana?
Yeah, Jamatkana, through identifying their feelings and in the body, you know, how to handle stress, how to cope. And then the parents get the same education. And they get education on like child development and their needs at certain ages. Critical freaking information.
Yeah.
So when
very essential shit.
And the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and like Harvard, like they were doing this work out in the world. And we just kind of like borrowed from it a little bit, used it to, we implemented a kind of our own, and they brought myself and a couple of other therapists together to do it for the community.
Yeah.
So that's an example of the project that I was involved with. And I would train others to go facilitate these workshops and how to do that. But that kind of reentry was easy for me because it speaks to what I'm going for, and it speaks to all of like my own journey and experiences.
You have pieces of you that have that vulnerability and the bridges built that's integrated.
And so, so the lens I look at it is like, I'm doing this for those kids, you know? And if I'm delivering this well and if I'm hitting it like, you know, whether it's the quality of the content or it goes well or it makes a difference years from now, hopefully that'll impact the community. Yeah. Right. But my goal and the energy is like the quality of this content and the quality of heart I put into it is going to directly impact the kid that receives it. And maybe that kid will be one of those ones, hopefully they're not as struggling like I was, but like if they are.
We're human, it's normal.
Yeah, if they are, then they'll have that beacon of hope or they'll have a different understanding or a way to deal with their emotions, things like that, you know? So that's kind of like my engagement with the community. But it really just is about just being in that conviction that kindness, compassion, and vulnerability are infectious, you know? Can I give an example? Yeah. It's funny. I just thought of it, and I don't have
to be
many.
Funny for you to be given permission to give it as an example, but sure.
Yeah, but I like laughing.
That's fine. Can you imagine if there's someone out there's like, I fucking hate laughing.
I don't know.
This is the hill
I don't think I'd interact with them too much. They wouldn't like me. But I say this because I really believe with conviction that this stuff is infectious, okay?
Go for it.
I needed an Uber to the airport, right? Okay. It was like a couple months ago, and I was trying to get on the flight to do one of these Jamaat kind of things, to be honest.
Oh, oh wow. So this wasn't even local.
No, we were piloting it in different places, like Atlanta and Chicago and stuff.
Oh, that's where you're going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to the airport, and, you know, it was one of those nights where, oh my God, you guys are going to judge me, but I was late. Okay, I was running late. And I was like... usually you want to get to the airport 2 hours before, right?
Yes.
But
it's part of the script, honestly.
Honestly, that is a part of the script. It's implicit.
We learned that early.
But it's explicit. People say.
They do. I mean, I experienced it behaviorally. Yeah, but anyways.
People say. Yeah. So I was like breaking the script.
Yeah.
And I was like...
This is really just an act of rebellion more than anything else.
And I was like, an hour should be fine. You know what I mean? And so I get this Uber... like it's like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It was like really dark outside. And this guy is this lovely man. He picks me up and he doesn't have a toll tag. Okay. So he's taking like the longest scenic route to the airport. Yeah. And in my body, I am like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. Like I'm going to like miss this flight, you know? Yeah. And all the emotions are coming up. Yeah. And he's taking his time. You know, he's like stopping at every light.
It's he's good morning.
Vibing. He's going speed limit, and that's fine because he doesn't have to get to Atlanta. But like, I'm just kind of like in my head, like, bro, come on. And so,
can you rally a bit, please, my guy? Yeah.
And then the funniest thing happened where like, so that we were getting really close to the airport, but he's in a toll tax, so we were doing other things, and then he misses like the exit, and in this moment.
The non-toll exit.
The non-toll exit, yeah. And in this moment, like, you know, as a human being, a part of you is angry.
Yeah.
A part of you
Fair,
is like, you want to say something like, you know, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. My guy.
My guy. You know, but I really could sense his aura as a human being. Like he had no idea what time my flight was, you know?
Yeah.
He had no idea where he needed to be. But not only that, he wasn't trying to go slow and take the exit. And
miss the exit. Yeah.
Sorry,
There's no malice.
No malice. Yeah. And honestly, he was so sweet. Like, he couldn't deliver, but he was so sweet.
Wait, did you miss the flight?
No. So this is what I'm getting at.
Oh,
so
okay.
what I'm getting at is like, I withheld all that. And I was grateful to him for the ride and the approach. Now I'm in the airport and I'm like, like, you know, sorry, excuse my language. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like so I'm in the security line. There's 40 people in the security line. Okay. And this is everyone's worst nightmare. I whisper to every single human being. I say, hey, I'm going to miss my flight. It's in 10 minutes. Can I cut you? Hey, can I cut you? Hey, can I cut you? And so I'm saying that, you know, my shame aside, my ego aside, like, I just need to get to this flight. And the thing was, like, when I got to like maybe like the last 10 people, the person in the front of the security line saw me struggle this whole time. And was like, hey, do you need to go? And let me just cut the whole line. And then I made it. I made it right on time. But I say all that to say, in my head and heart, I really with conviction believe that the kindness to the driver and then the kindness that was given to me at the security gate was all related. It was energy exchange for energy. And I think that I really believe in that. And it's also one of those things where you go into it more, you start to see it more. You know, it's like where it's, you know, selective attention maybe, but that energy, and that energy just felt so infectious in that moment. It literally felt connected. Like I felt like it just all felt so related. Yeah. So I say that story to just to speak on this conviction of
being open in that way,
being kind, being compassionate, being vulnerable. Like I think whether it's individually, community, Uber driver, wherever, it is infectious. Okay. And it makes the world a better place.
So what do you do when you are in a position where those distressing emotions and like you need to outlet them and like, because you want to give people permission to be human because everybody is, but we are also human, and sometimes that means struggling with the ability to kind of give nuance to that because we're not wired to do that consistently. Yeah. So how do you outlet? Like how do you make sure that there is
uncomfortable emotions?
Like uncomfortable emotions or those like when the anger and all of that is because there are people and interactions that are deeply frustrating and all that stuff. Even if you build a bridge and it gets
so true. Yeah, and I don't want to make it look easy at all. Because it's just not. We're therapists, so we know.
I mean, we do this for a living, and it's fucking hard.
Oh my god, it's so hard. It takes a lot of work to sit here and be like, kindness is infectious.
Yeah, humanism is difficult.
So I was looking at the time because I want to say, but I'm going to make sure I can speed. So, in all honesty, through this journey that I was talking about, I mean, it was hard to go through it without developing some habits that on the outskirts might not look good for me. You know, so what I mean is like, any type of relationship that is so codependent that you lose your sense of self is a way of coping. It's a way of coping with your discomfort around yourself.
So deep avoidance maybe built into that. Deep
avoidance of not wanting to face and grow and be independent of and sovereign in that way. I've struggled with that. Like all of my templates of relationships, best friends and husbands and boyfriends were that. And so that to me was the loss of a huge coping mechanism where I had to stand on my own feet and kind of like relearn what love is. Like love isn't to find someone and make them, you know, be exactly who you want them to be. You know, it's to love them for who they are. And in order to do that, you have to love yourself for who you are. And so that kind of like, and I say all that to say like my most unhealthy habits were those attachment-based relationships that helped me avoid deep discomfort for the longest time.
Yeah. They're very good at that.
They're so good at that. They're hiddenly gems at that.
Yeah.
And then the second one, like I'll admit, because I've worked on is, you know what hookah is?
Yeah.
I have issues. I had issues.
It's a wonderful pairing. You know what hookah is? Yeah. I'm fucked up.
I was just saying it to be honest here, but like,
that's so funny.
there's nicotine
you just
in
skip
it.
the trip flow chart. You just go straight into and.
Because we don't have time for that, so I'm just saying.
Watch it be completely unrelated to hookah. This is just a
no, so hookah has a lot of nicotine. Okay, they're opening up new shops at every corner of every city of every street right now because we don't have.
Dallas has got a lot of spots.
Dallas is too many. So it.
You're like, and I visit all of them.
No, I have. I leaned on that on a daily basis for some years in these last 4.5. And I have had to stop, and I've had to, starting like last year, I think I started to go through
hard.
months
That's a hard habit.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
It's very difficult.
Because when you stop, and I'm not smoking right now, and it's just like.
Your brain's just like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, it's like any addiction recovery where
100%.
you're trying to be present in life again. But I say that to say, like, I realize I leaned on that for not just avoiding discomfort, but like forgetting discomfort. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't even have to remember what bothered me.
So then, and it could allow you to continue to
allow me to continue to like live like life so well. And so when all this codependency ended, like the hookah became like the focal point for me because it was one independent of other people. So I'm never going to be at risk of attachment again. Yeah. Right. It was just me by myself typically. And it's one of those things that, like any addiction, like it gives you the dopamine and it also gives you this pseudo sense of safety. So I say all that to say, like, as I've gone sober with it, last week my grandma passed away, by the way. Super busy last week. We had a funeral and like it was a whole thing. And, you know, death is very sad. And also people come together and you value the present and the times you have, right? Yeah. And I say that because
there's unity.
There's unity in death. And I think death is really important to just remember, you know, time and time again.
Talk about commonality.
That it's the only certain thing and that we, you know, can learn a lot to be present with that. But I say all that to say, during this funeral, so much family came together. And because I'm so sober, so much more present, you know, I could feel all the discomforts I have. And I could just be myself more authentically, even if that wasn't the right thing. So what I mean is like, I might lean into like an old, deep-rooted like codependency pattern, but I'll feel it and I'll feel that that's not comfortable. And I'll be able to also feel, okay, now if I course correct, what is comfortable? And I say all that to say like the feeling of the insights that you could get about yourself, what you like, what you don't, who you want to be, how you want to show up. I could only hear those things sober. Yeah. You know what I mean? And without forgetting the discomfort through the
you can internalize
nicotine.
If you forget it.
You can't, you just miss all that. Yeah. And I was reflecting recently, I was like, man, that was so much insight I got this weekend of who I want to be and how I want to show up, you know? And I would have missed all that because an older version of me would like get through the event and then go smoke it out. You know what I mean?
Just like distress, tolerate,
like,
and then
don't even behave poorly or do anything and just like be.
Yeah, behave. That's
right? And then like wait for it later to just like completely go away through the smoke. So it's been a journey, to say the least, that like these types of behaviors, you know, to start to break them down and have compassion for the part of you that needed those attachments to survive. Have compassion for the part of you that needed the nicotine to stay okay. Yeah. Like, because truthfully, it's all protective in nature, right? Like, so when I talk about my tolerance, like I really mean it. Like, you know, it's a slow burn. It's progress. But it helps me relate to my clients and all the things.
And you have other, I mean, you've mentioned meditation and
of course. And I was just going to get at like, of course, through the 4.5 years, I have found new ways of being in this world that are positive and rewarding too, which could look like the meditations, the yoga.
It's like intentional groundedness.
Intentional groundedness.
Be aware of that.
Even this is a creative venture. This is play, but this is also a purposeful and it has the intersection of so many things, and you have to be very present while you're doing it, right? Same with meditation.
You could probably tell when someone's like,
I mean, it would be really obvious if I was checked out of a conversation. It would be bad. But I say all that to answer your question. Like,
Yeah.
I know that discomfort is there, and there's a value to that. There's messaging there, and it's to learn from. And I continue to do that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that wasn't so bad.
My God, just too much content. Cut this shit out.
We didn't even get to any of the rapid fire questions.
Oh, yeah. You can ask me a few. Go ahead.
Okay. We're going to do maybe a couple and then call it.
We'll call it a day.
And I'm gonna cherry pick this a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. And off of the piece, what's the that we're just talking about? What's one thing you do daily to prioritize your mental well-being? No matter how small.
Now.
Yeah, we know what the previous one.
Got it.
We know what we did before. What is the current?
I recently fell obsessively into yin yoga. So yin yoga is very different than just like the mainstream yoga you might see.
Sure.
You sit in postures like way longer, and you get into like the deeper fascia muscle tissue of your body, and it actually releases stored emotions. So it helps you actually process while you're in yin.
Ooh, that sounds like labor a lot.
It's labor. It's uncomfortable, but you're really leaning into the discomfort.
Yeah,
but because you're in the poses and you're using props to hold you, it's this like duality of like you're in discomfort, but you're held and you're safe. So it's been really healing for me. Oof. I try to do it like every night, but it doesn't happen usually. Like I'll do it every other. Yeah.
Okay. That's sick.
It is. No, I highly recommend. I like to teach it. Come.
All right. We'll do this for the last one because I think it's kind of funny. What is the funniest piece of advice you've ever gotten about mental health?
Man, that one's a hard one. I hate asking people that.
You wrote this.
Because everyone has already said everything funny you get about mental health.
Okay, let's go in the direction of weird, quirky, strange, just anything in that genre works. If you wanna open it up.
Weird, quirky, strange about mental health.
Or funny.
Funny.
That genre of things.
The whole thing.
Did I make it more stressful?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good. I mean, I think the most it's going to be like, there was a time where I brought up something that has happened to make peace with it. And someone around me said like, do you really need to talk about that?
Damn.
And it was so judgmental. In fact, they said if you keep talking about that, we're all going to have to go to therapy. And I was just like,
maybe you should. Maybe it's not a bad outcome. Yeah. Why does therapy sound like a punishment to you?
I felt so cornered. So I don't know if that's strange or quirky, but it was definitely memorable.
That's something. Definitely fits a category. I don't know what yet. I'll have to figure that out later. Cool. Yeah, that's a great place to.
It's a great place to end. Yay, we did it.
That wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it was
that wasn't so bad.